Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today, I back up once again by Chase.
What's up?
And today's matchup is, me versus Chase. Chase is playing Turtle School, Master Roshi, the whole gang. I'm playing AOD. Let's just get into it. There's buttons. Feel free to click them there for a reason. So we'll talk about Turtle School because it's also a deck that I played when it came down. I do like the deck a lot, but you kind of stuck with it longer than I have. And I don't think the main reason why you're playing this deck is shown this match, but go ahead and talk about your deck a bit.
So this deck has sort of become the tech bank, as I like to call it, where green has a lot of cool utility cards, like just everywhere. It just needs a really solid shell to help you see them all. And I'm like, hey, I know of a green deck that lets you search, draw, and thin your deck. So I've been familiar with this deck for a while. I think that you can hit the ground running really well with this deck. But there is a special tech that I really wanted to try out this weekend, and that is using the Gogeta BR Super Combo, which is just 0 plus 10k draw 1 if you have 2 or more Z energy or a Z battle card in play. And there is a red Vegeta that I do not know the name of currently, like Ready for Battle, I think, something like that.
Something like that.
That just activate main from your hand, discard it to add a Gogeta BR from your graveyard to your hand. And the only requirement for that is your leader is green. So the preview of you will realize you get to run 8 super combos in every single green deck until that is addressed.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was wanting to try out right now. I didn't really know of any super cool green archetypes that would really be able to do this as well. This is one I'm one of the most comfortable with right now. Maybe we'll see when Cell comes out if that's any good.
And as a reminder, if I recall correctly, the Gogeta is good on any life as long as you meet three requirements. 1 of 3.
Yep. Yeah, you just have to have 2 Z energy and you can do it at any time.
Yeah. But here you're doing the basics, like you said earlier, thin deck out. So you played a card from the deck by putting a card on the bottom of your deck, but then allows you to search. I think Goku's a searcher. And then you use the other effect to kind of pull out 2 little blockers to kind of go into the bigger 3-drop card. And like I said, it's been a while since I played it, so I'm just verifying, like, isn't one of these... Oh yeah, it's the Krillin that requires you to have 3 energy to play it.
Yep. The other 2 are very similar, and they have the exact same effect, where they draw to income if any of your cards have been KO'd by battle. Which can be the ones that gave you, can be a blocker token. It can be any attack on any attack as long as one of your cards gets KO'd by battle. And when they beat over something, the big ones, they restand and they get a beneficial effect. So Goku will make you discard 1, and Yamcha will pop a 5 or less. And Krillin's a little different. He's just dual attack crit that has a really good anti-counter effect, which is super nice. But once again, it does have to be when you have 3 or more energy.
Yeah. And for some reason, if you're not familiar with AOD, I played enough to know that this deck just goes blah, swing a ton.
Yeah, and that's all weekend. That is the only type of deck that I really had trouble against, is these super low to the ground, swing a trillion times games, because I've realized that Dormant is a super good card, but if you're relying on it, then there's a hole in your game plan. So I've been trying to pivot off of it as a player as much as I can. I run a ton of unisons in this version of the build, so I do get to run Dormant. There are quite a few that just are beneficial. I run 3 different names of unison just because they all have a really nice synergy.
One thing about green, because you mentioned Dormant, it is normally one of the hardest matchups a lot of times with AOD because of that floodgate. And a lot of times any deck can do a really good floodgate. Also about to flash the card by accident. You don't have to reveal the card you take for Broly. I just completely forgot in that moment. But I have to choose what to attack with first a lot of times, especially if they have a unison. So like if you had a unison board, I would swing with Turles first, because if you were to activate Dormant, you're only going to pop the garlic. But in this particular instance, Turtles is negated because I did pay 1 to play garlic to turn around to pull Turtles out of my deck because I hadn't seen it at this point, and I want to go ahead and establish one right away. And I like doing that as soon as possible because in this case, getting you to potentially awaken on before you even go to turn 2, I feel like is really strong.
Yeah, it doesn't feel super great. But luckily for this deck, it's not like a lot of the other decks in the format where you can just kind of awaken with an alternative condition. There is an alternative condition. I have not met it a single time while playing that.
What is the alternative condition again?
If you control 3 or more
Yeah.
3 energy cost Turtle School, you can awaken.
I've
have
never
a single time.
Yeah, I've never been able to pull that off either. And also because it's a self-awakener. So, like, it doesn't really matter as much. But here, I did play Android 13, and I did tell you, because you're playing from the deck, I have to choose to counterplay beforehand, especially with Android 13. And if you want to still play a card, it'll go to the drop. And you choose to do that anyways because that really benefits your leader, because your leader could just combo cards from your drop, which is great. But regardless, you still had to discard a card for it. And this tech, I completely forgot that this works for this Roshi deck. And I was like, this is good.
Yeah, it's very good. So those of you who don't know the synergy, if your leader is a World Martial Arts tournament, which thankfully Roshi is.
He's when he awakens, right?
Yeah, but you have to have 3 or more energy, and if you're not awakened by then, it's
yeah.
So basically, he has a ton of utility. I think he is a deflect. He's dual attack. When he comes in, you bounce a 5 or less, and you search the top 5 for a World Martial Arts card, which is the entire archetype. All of the schools are also World Martial Arts, so he does everything and then some.
You did swing at my lead. I did Sense of Being, and then you kind of went after my Turtles afterwards, and I just kind of had to protect it. So, with 4 energy tapped out, with 4 life and tapped out, what was going on here? Because I feel like that's a tricky spot. Now, granted, yes, you're playing green, it's a good chance you have dormant. But I'm just curious, kind of like, where are you at right now?
So, yeah, I'm almost positive we just chuck a dormant here. I may or may not be trying to get an energy or 2 out, because I know AOD does have some pivotability, and I would like for you to not be able to just kind of sit back and then, we basically time walk each other.
Yeah.
Or I dormant you Nimbus me or whatever. So I'm trying to just see what I can do to just stave off, because I'm running so many super combos. I think I have at least 2. I see one. Yeah, I have at least 2. I'm like, I'll just stave this off. And go ahead. I'm not sure if we have dormant or not. I don't see it there.
Yeah, you haven't used it yet.
The thing is, with this deck, is that extra energy on your turn in this deck is just not very helpful. I don't really use that defensively unless I'm using dormant without a unison.
I will say the benefit of this so far, though, is just to leave your hand out as much as possible. And I did all that without expending any form of energy. Here, I'm about to play this card. It's a file play. I can still play that, make that play. But then I was like, wait, he doesn't have triple strike. I'm not going to play him yet. But if he had triple strike, I feel like that would be in a really tough spot for you. But in order for him to get triple strike, your opponent has to have 3 or more energy. But activate main, as long as you have 7 agent destruction cards between your leader area, Z energy, battle area, drop, I think energy as well, but I can't remember off the top of my head. He's 1 energy to play, and then he either KOs a card with a barrier or draws you a card.
It does not very much matter. You are just going to meet the requirement.
Yeah. So, like I doing what AOD does, I'm in a place where I feel like I could go for a game if I want to continue pushing. And then I even thought about, like, maybe I will play Sin. But then you comboed out of that last attack. I'm like, nah, I'm going to leave it here. 2 energy. I feel safe here.
Yeah, so right here, I do see an out. We were talking about the unisons. I think I've had this guy since the very beginning of the game, and here I am just trying to see what I want. I got exactly what I wanted here. I wanted you to throw something out, throw out like a floodgate, because I knew that I was basically going to be doing one thing and then passing. So I'm glad I got to see the secret rig on.
The
We're pushing through some damage, and then here comes the best thing of all.
So I kind of need to talk about this. I don't 100% remember the mindset of why I went to this play, but yeah, Golden Freeze is pretty nice. Now, technically, Unison will fall as the drop area, but I don't think you actually put it there. But I remember going, I don't want you to get anything out of this turn. I just want to shut you down and then go right back into it the following turn. And you did this, and I'm like, oh yeah. I was not expecting this at all. So here you're kind of pushing, see what you could do. I think I did see, yeah, you do have an overwhelm in your hand. So you're trying to go for that damage. You chose not to do the minus yet. You held off on doing that.
Because that puts me at one marker, and I know that you can just rebuild. So dormant is the lifeline here, so I cannot just have that go on.
I will say, because I didn't expect it, I actually in AOD have I do tech absolute confidence. Now, granted, I didn't have 2 blue energy at the time, so like it could be risky, but at the same time, like I said, I wasn't expecting Golden Frieza. Like I knew you played Piccolo to some degree. I just didn't know you played Golden Frieza.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not a huge fan of my defensive play this turn. I know that you can just dormant block, and that's super nutty, but I was not about to get in a position to where you just throw out a double striker that kills my guy and then we lose. But in hindsight, that was probably way less likely than you just playing cards that are good. Instantly. So I really wish that I would have played this a little smarter with the Frieza Unison and just, chuck the dormant Sego, trying to be a little conservative here. I'm glad I did not use the blocker token until this thing came down, and then you do that. And I am in somewhat dire. I think this is when I ripped the dormant. Like I said, I wish I would have done that on the Frieza block.
Yeah.
But I was. Did you have anything that was just like, all right, I'll just double strike him to death type of card?
Not anymore. With Chomper being gone, there's really like Omega Shinron is one of the few cards in this deck that has triple strike initially. As long as your opponent has 3 more energy, but outside that, there isn't really like I think the Vegeta in Age of Instructions like Arsenal has the ability to do so, but outside that, there's no other card that has innately a double strike. So giving one double strike is a little bit harder now. And I can be missing something and not remember top of my head. Here, we go over your combos twice because we had to just double check.
I think I come up one too many. This game had just blown my brain out. So I was just like, oh, man. Like after I fumbled with the dormant, I was kind of just sitting there, oh, I don't know. I got to be careful.
And I got one more swing, so I'm trying to figure out what's the best play here.
I do have one more swing, and I have the field spell, and the field spell is actually cracked in situations like this.
It is. It's I think we talked before. It's very similar to how Trunks of Vegeta is, and also like with you pitch to Vegeta, it's a big boost. It's double strike. In this case, it's practically the same thing. You pitch to field card by using the leader's activate main. You get 5k for every character with Turtle School in your Z energy, and that's you get up to 4, I think. Because it's the Yamcha, Krillin, and Goku, and then it's say what?
You can get Goku twice because there's Goku Childhood. Correct. And then there's just Goku.
Yeah, so I think 20k is high. I think 20k is highest because I think Krillin's not a childhood Krillin. Or yes, I think the both Krillins are different. I think one's childhood Krillin and one's
I think
regular Krillin.
That so, you get to.
I guess I ended up passing. we were talking, I might have missed. I might have did do an attack. I did the extra attack and just.
Mm-hmm.
But
so we got Frieza coming in for the triple strike.
Yes, and this is why I kept the blocker, just to get the first one out of the way. You got the second one coming, and I have to decide, like, am I going for a combo? Am I going to rip a life or pay one? And I ended up paying one for Garlic. And this is primarily just getting more combo power onto the board with this Lord Slug being my super combo.
Mm-hmm. I was really expecting a token blocker here. I was waiting for that to come down and then just pop it with Goku, and then we're swinging for lethal.
Yeah.
That was what was going on in my mind.
Well, I knew
and also, yep.
I knew you had that as an option, so I kind of held off on that play. Because I think early on you comboed off both Goku and a Piccolo, so I knew you had them both in your deck, which, I mean, they were made for this deck in a sense, like they were part of the archetype for this deck when it came out. But you played this 30k and you kind of zapped my super combo. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I got like 5 or 6 cards in my hand. You're swinging with a single strike. You can't see my hand. I do have Support of Dark Emperor in my hand. So it kind of breaks down, do I go and take this hit and then token negate the next one, which I end up doing that instead.
All right, there's the token blocker, and I think this is... I don't even think I go for the Goku at this point. I think I go for something a little classier here.
Yeah, you have a take. I also had to negate that attack, because if I didn't negate the attack, like we talked about earlier, you would crack the field spell, and then I would have been SOL'd. Oh, that's what happened. I swung with on that last turn. I missed when we were talking, but you dormant it twice. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dormant. I completely forgot. You play your Z card, and like I was, I'm about to lose here. And then you swing with a 2 or less, and I'm like, I'm just gonna chuck dormant without a discard.
Yeah.
And blank his last attack. Like I know on the crackback we're chilling.
So you play the Krillin to get a draw, and then you play. I thought you will end up playing another guy in a second. But yeah, playing this card making me discard a card is pretty nice. And here I'm double checking the Krillin just in case you're trying to go for that play instead. I don't really know what you're going for exactly yet. So you swing, and I think you're pretty much you're baiting my block is what you're doing.
Mm-hmm, yeah, because Goku can grow to some scary numbers.
But I end up not blocking it though. Because I felt a little confident comboing out, and I wanted to hang on to the blocker for something else because you still have 2 open energy. But that gets dicey because, like I said, if you played the Goku on me, you're sniping the blocker then instead. So you tap 2 and you play Piccolo Unis. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you only had like a few cards left in your hand, like at all.
Yeah, I've done like 3 cards, I think.
Yeah, so I give you a Yamcha. In hopes that you just sort of let the blocker go. And I'm like, oh, I'm chilling. So now we're swinging 2 20Ks, last card situation.
And you're out of cards.
Yes.
And so I come up with your last 2 attacks, and you're like, that's game. I can't do anything else after that. No, it came down to the wire because I ended up having to combo off my own field at the very end just to maintain that last strike. Because I didn't want you... Because like if you would have... Piccolo would have been a 20k.
Yep.
If you would have killed the Yamcha. So it was the best choice to block it. But let me say thank you for opportunity. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below, links in the description. Thanks for tuning in.